Some of you in here know me from different walks of life, but today I'm representing for my guy, Louis March. So Louis March started an organization called the Zero Gun Violence Movement. That movement was really about being an advocate, bringing folks together that have a common goal in reducing gun violence and supporting communities. And so, as he has passed last year, the group lives on. The group is back in action, and the group is supporting the community and the city at large. So just wanted to note there, you can go to zerogunviolence.ca for support. A lot of calls, a lot of emails are coming in. Now, where we are today, the question I want to ask folks is, are you brave enough? All the recipients, you have displayed courage, you have displayed bravery in your efforts in the community, and I want to congratulate you. So let's give them a round of applause, please. Now, what we're seeing in community, when it comes to community safety and violence, it's not for the weak. Most Torontonians over their lifespan will not see what you're seeing. Remember, courage is not about being fearless, because the work is too real. The streets are too real. It can be scary hours outside. But courage is about acting despite the fear. And when you're on the ground, remember that you may and likely will be tested. And when I say on the ground, I mean in community. You will be tested. Your credibility will be checked for validity. And remember, they can smell fear, and that's why it's important. Now, if you're anywhere near the news, or you have your ears to the streets, you would realize that the age of those getting involved is getting younger. You're hearing of 14-year-olds in the mix in deadly activities. One of the questions may be, why is it happening? The why is the why. It hasn't really changed much outside of maybe, social media speeding things up and exposing folks. It still is some of the risk factors that we're dealing with 20 years ago. Negative peer associations, unresolved trauma, exposure to violence in childhood, unemployment, unhealthy parent and child relationships, and so on. But if I could flip it, the question I would pose to you all is, do you have the courage to do the work that needs to be done to save these lives? You see, maintaining a safe community isn't just a government and service provider task. It is a community task. Everyone has a role to play and can play a role. So for those of you that don't work in the sector, you can contribute your time. Volunteer a couple of hours with some young people. You may even have knowledge. Do you have information that can be useful in turning things around? Resources. Do you have some dollars or access to dollars that can make some things shift and where you can build some things in the community? If you do, we need you to step up. I'm gonna shift to a story here. I'm gonna get a little personal here. In 2006, just after the summer of the gun, two men, a photographer named Rodrigo Marino and a community worker named Paulos Gabriasus, walked into an area of Lawrence Heights that me and my guys were hanging in. It was a dangerous scene. Lots of serious men, no smiles. They came around with sheets of paper about a job. They received no response from most of the guys. Some didn't even look at them. A few said, nah, waved them off. I was the only one that day that took the sheet of paper from them. And what I did was take up the opportunity that was presented in front of me. I was looking, and they found me. Not too long before that moment, I was in the mix, and in my spirit, I knew we weren't living the right way. I knew that it was either death or long-term prison that awaited the lifestyle, so I vowed to make some changes. The project was so big that we ended up doing interviews and documenting the whole process with CBC News. Me and my guys were even contracted to do some music for CBC. We recorded a song for the project that aired. This was the beginning of a high-profile and purpose-filled life that saw me build communities, mentor, inspire, and lead safety initiatives for my people across the city. I had no idea where the moment would have led, but I just knew I had to feel the fear and do it anyways. And for those two men to come out to that very dangerous setting in one of the most dangerous times in Toronto history, you know truly that they wanted to contribute to community safety and support the development of those that they may have saw as vulnerable. When there's war or battle, you call for warriors, and they must have courage. I want to go to somebody that I know and that many of you know who's sitting here with us right now. There was a moment that we've had together that changed and shook me. And I'm talking about the young man by the name of Trayvon Douglas. This was somewhere between 5 to 7 years ago. We hosted the annual Peace Walk in Lawrence Heights. Now these were some trying times, as there were some serious shootings and homicides leading to that walk. But midway through the walk, we're at a stop. Don't know if you remember this, Trey. He turns and says to me, Jaydahmann, you guys are so lucky you don't have to be here anymore. He was wishing that he could magically be somewhere else. Now, this is not to criticize him. He was much younger, and it gives a glimpse into what he was seeing and dealing with when it came to the community safety in the neighborhood. It was too much, how I took it, it was too much for his mind and even his spirit to cope with at the time. But he caught me off guard with that. I had no words, but I felt it ricochet all throughout my body. On that drive back, after the walk, I couldn't help but think about what he was feeling, what he was thinking, and what he was smelling in the air, because I remembered it all too well. Fast forward today, Trayvon is a testament to what happens when you use past adversities to fulfill a purpose bigger than yourself. He is now an innovative and bold community leader that's shaping into what I would call a national treasure. I know Lawrence Heights, so I know that Trey is being supported by a community of warriors, both residents and community staff. But I'm sure he had to dig deep. He had to look in the mirror and find that courage. He had to be led by purpose. Are we courageous enough? Although there are some communities that have warriors like Lawrence Heights, there are communities that are falling short, and we can't afford for that to continue. We are at a critical point when it comes to community safety. The hands holding the gun are younger than ever. There is still a demographic within the community that hasn't been reached. Frontline staff are burning out. They need resources put in place to help them be more efficient. We ask that the right people are hired for this work And for those already working in the communities, if you're feeling burnt out, or if you do not have the desire, offer some retraining. Let's figure out how to re-energize, refocus, and provide the support they need. And to the government, the City of Toronto, our lovely city, we welcome the SafeTO plan. The shift in dedication to community safety is very evident. We need to keep the dialogue about community safety open. And we need to ensure that permanent funding is available for us to do this effectively and make it sustainable. It needs to remain a priority. So if we have the frontline workers doing what they need to do and having that courage to step out and step into those groups, if we have management making the tough calls and hiring strategically, and if we have the government backing community safety in Toronto, we can likely have what Louis March had always hoped for, and that's a Toronto with zero gun violence. That's my time. Thank you.